John, yours unbelievable. I can't believe you did that. Hi, I'm John, and my backup life plan is to be in doggy daycare.
And I'm John, and I'm good at setting reminders on my phone.
And I'm not John, and I haven't slept in 36 hours. Welcome to Would John Rather, or Not John, or anybody really this week, because, guys, I've had enough. I think it's unfair sometimes how the decisions are made, and...
You're telling me?
Yeah, it's disgusting the way that some things happen, and I think we need someone impartial to just assist and just get us back to make sure that we're being fair. So I've asked for assistance from my blood relative, my brother. This is Not John.
Hello, I'm Not John. It's brother.
As in the Not John from Bath Brothers?
The exact same one, and I'm not in a bath this week.
So Matt is failing his duties, and he's got the pun machine out, who's his sibling, and this is making it more unbiased?
Oh, well, it makes it more unbiased because you've got John, who is now severely worried that his pun skills are going to be even more outshone than when someone just doesn't make a pun.
So you've put the little lad on edge all episode.
You're severely worried because you're going to worry if he is going to possibly aid and abet his sibling. And I'm on edge because as much as he loves me dearly, I know he would do anything to make me look like a fool.
I feel powerful.
It's because you are.
I think you'll find I'm going to end up looking like the power fool.
Oh.
Well, we're off to a good start.
Anyway, so Not John is going to join us. John's going to host this week, and that hasn't cleared up who's doing what. But he's just going to join in, and we're going to see what's going to happen with the podcast. So, welcome to the very first guests. Would John rather? So, we'll dive right in.
Would you rather trick or treat?
Trick.
I've never been trick or treating, so I'll have treats. Is that how it works? Have I got to roll over like a dog or something? I don't quite get this concept.
Well, it was a fairly open question. Would you rather trick or treat?
I'd rather someone give me treats. What
sort of treats?
I'd rather someone give me like full-size Mars bars. I'd much rather have something like that than the, in inverted commas, fun-sized ones, which are not fun because it's less than a mouthful for an adult.
But it's still treats.
Yeah, so can I have the treats, please? For our Halloween special that we probably didn't explain earlier.
Oh yeah, happy Halloween, everybody.
I thought it would just, rather than explain, we'd just let people work it out.
We got too excited with our guest who has so far not spoken on the question, but I'm sure he'll join in at some point.
I'm waiting to see how you elaborate a bit more because the question's a bit too open for me at the moment.
Oh, so you're waiting to see which side you think is going to win, and then the side with the winning team.
I think I've made my mind up already, but I want to see who balls up first so I can pounce.
I'm going to go with trick purely because
You turn tricks in your profession anyway.
No, but that is a fairly good argument. I do like hookers. I'm going to go with tricks because one of my favourite pastimes. I do not use the power for evil, but I've always prided myself. Is that the words? Prided myself? John? Grammar?
I've always taken pride.
Thank you very much. I've always taken pride in my ability to lie. But I don't use it for evil. I use it for good. Just, for example, persuading young people that I work with that chicken nuggets are actually baby chicks that they just batter and deep fry. Or
I'm so glad you changed the rest of that sentence. That was worrying me very much.
Or persuading one of our friends that what was my favourite one that I did? I persuaded for about 10 minutes. I went on an epic yarn about how the wheelchair was invented by a 13th century Japanese emperor who didn't like the slavery that he was taught to enforce into his subjects to do those, the carry chariot things where you have people carrying the front and the back and they sit in the car. So he invented the wheelchair with wheels on, so one person could just push him around. And as fun, this is an epic yarn. And I'd never explained that was a lie until about 6 months later. And just little things like that, as you well know, that I've dropped things into the podcast, just little lies, because I just think it keeps people on their toes, and I just take epic enjoyment out of it.
You're also the person that said they were going to teach my infant that a giraffe was actually just a tall horse.
It is.
Just imagine the amount of damage you could do with all that knowledge and all that power that people think that you're a reputable source of information, and then you just go and ruin it all.
And also, imagine how amazing your son's going to be when he becomes a world-class horse rider at the Grand National, and he comes out the gates riding a fucking giraffe.
Talking about riding animals, little man actually came up with a new word the other morning. We were talking about cows and horses and things. He just turned to me and said, "Daddy, horses are ridey, cows are not ridey." And I instantly knew what he meant.
Yeah?
So then I blew his tiny little mind and said, elephants ridey. And he went, "No." And I went, "Oh, yes, they are." "Oh, you can ride elephants, Daddy." "Yes, you can, little man." See, the truth is much more powerful than lies. The joy of a little boy realising that one day he maybe could ride an elephant.
But there's also nothing to stop him riding a cow.
Possibly the farmers in the field next door might not be too impressed with me chasing cows around and trying to throw my 3-year-old on them.
What about the elephant that doesn't want to be ridden?
Then it'll pick him up with his trunk and hurl him across the jungle.
Welcome to the podcast. Your first actual input is turning to John and going, "Son's an idiot. You can ride cows."
I just think being able to ride a cow is a lot safer than trying to ride an elephant that doesn't want to be ridden.
I think the moral of the story is don't ride anything that doesn't want to be ridden.
Can I interject?
No.
What has this got to do with the question?
Because John's
Lies are
son,
bad. Lies are bad.
John's son is tricking cows into being ridden.
No, he's not.
But I bet he'd have fun if he was.
No.
I'm going to put it back on track if I can and say I agree with the treats. Treats. Surely you want a treat. No one goes out, if we're talking Halloween based, no one goes out trick or treating and come home and go, "Oh, what'd you get? What'd you get?" Nothing. I just got covered in flour and eggs, and someone had a little button and they shocked me. And you want to come home and you want to have a ton of sweets and go, "I got all these treats." Crazy old lady at the end didn't have any sweets left, so she was just giving out pound coins. That's the best bit. No one goes, "Oh, someone egged my house." What a brilliant day this was.
Do you remember going trick or treating and little old lady, bless her? I always feel bad for her when I remember this. We went trick or treating and she didn't realise it was Halloween, so she gave us both 5p.
Which is probably the value of a fun-sized Mars bar.
Oh, you've really got.
Not anymore, it's not.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I think this is quite subjective because the trick or treat thing, I think it depends who you are. Because if you're the one covered in the example of Halloween going out trick or treating, if you're the one covered in flour and eggs, no, of course you'd prefer a treat. But if you're the one covering people in flour and eggs, then you're doing the tricking, so you're enjoying the trick. That is actually your treat.
But you've just tripped yourself up because exactly you've ended up tricking someone to treat yourself. So you admitted that you wanted the treat in the first place.
But that treat wouldn't exist without the trick.
It's a different media to get to what you want, but the end product is you still want the treat. You want the happiness and the joy of the trick. But it's a different thing to fill you up. And you still want the happiness and the joy of the treat, so the treat wins.
Well, so many things that maybe just go back to prostitutes there, but I guess if she's turning a trick, that's your treat.
Everyone likes treats. At the end of the night, when you've egged Mr. Johansson's house and you've run around and TP'd his trees in his front garden, you'll be on the run from the law because they're going to get you because that's what they do.
That's the creepiest thing I've heard this Halloween. John whispering into his microphone, "They're going to get you."
And I'll be sitting at home with some drumsticks, a curly whirly or two, maybe if I'm really lucky, a Ferrero Rocher. Just think. Or do you not live in an area where people hand out nice stuff?
I don't know. I don't go trick-or-treating in my late 20s alone.
Probably
we all know that's
actually.
a lie.
So far, what I'm getting from this is that we think that tricks and treats are the same thing.
No.
Matt's now got to try and convince us that it's not the same thing, otherwise he just loses the argument.
Yeah, Matt, tell us why petty vandalism and self-gratification through that isn't the same as not being an arsehole and then being given sweets for it.
No.
Right. Well, I'm going to call it there. Not John, you had a very good start because actually the spinning a yarn, I love that. I really, really do.
Being dishonest.
No, one of my favourite things that I've ever done was go on a big hike with a group of people that I didn't know I think it was in Peru. 10 people, didn't know any of them, and along the walk, spending a few days with them, just start telling subtle lies and then just making them more and more elaborate and seeing what people will believe. Because they don't really know you, they don't call you out on shit. And so some people start believing you. And I loved that. But I felt like your argument was completely just decimated by other not John, who basically said that that's actually my treat and it blew my mind. So, treat wins. Treat wins.
So, okay, that's fair enough. So just to confirm, John wins through no part of his own, and I face absolute betrayal and heartbreak from my own flesh and blood.
It's very similar to how I lost last week's episode. You put an argument for both mine and John's argument and then decided on which one of the arguments that you came up with won.
That is completely different. One of your family members didn't come on and argue against you.
Would like to point out you did choose first.
I did.
And you chose wrong.
I did choose wrong. I will accept the defeat. However, sidebar to Quizmaster John this week, can we meet up at some point in London and find a random tour group and start leading them around and telling them lies?
Yes.
You were twisted.
That would be.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. If you think that tricking and treating are the same thing, or you take extreme, I can't think of the word, just pleasure, utmost pleasure, deep from within your clavicle, then please tweet at me, would Jay rather, let me know.
Deep from your collarbone, yeah, okay.
It's as good a place as any.
You can contact me through Ouija boards.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
How can they get hold of you, John?
Oh, there's no further explanation to Ouija boards, just contact me via the Ouija board. Okay, you can contact me at John would rather, that's Jon. No H's this week because they haunt me.
Way!
Fantastic. Brother, do you have a Twitter?
I don't have a Twitter.
Okay. So
but I'd like people to send you all of the white lies, the hidden things that they've lied about to random strangers.
Oh no.
Just to entertain you. Yeah, I want to hear all the bad things people have told innocent people, just so we can all take joy out of it.
Do you know what the saddest thing is? The majority of those tweets are just going to be the words "I love you." Happy Halloween, everyone!
You, I love you on Twitter. That'd be brilliant.
Oh, I didn't know Mum had Twitter.
Ouch! Fuck me! Oh. Well.
Oh, that was a belly laugh.
That was brutal. That was yeah. That was just mean. Should we have another question?
Would you rather have a cocktail made by Dracula or a witch?
Dracula.
You know he's only going to make you Bloody Marys, right?
Yep. It's probably going to include bloods. If it's the blood of a vampire, I might turn into a vampire, which I think would be pretty cool. Or it's just going to be bloods. And everybody knows that Draculas have a sixth sense for anybody that has any contagious diseases that are transmuted by blood. So he wouldn't give me one of them. So pretty much safe. But a witch, or you could end up with anything. You could get turned into a frog, get turned into a toad.
Yeah, but variety is the spice of life. I'd rather have
No,
half
spice
dozen
is the
crazy
spice of life.
witch cocktails. You can take your spiced pumpkin bullshit and shut up and let me finish. Variety is the spice of life, and you can have loads of crazy witch cocktails, and it'll be like the end of the Black Cauldron, where you're changing it up constantly between different animals, maybe. Or you fall asleep for 100 years and get kissed by a beautiful person who's going to wake you up. That's not bad either.
I do like the idea of sleeping for 100 years, but it could also just kill me.
Yeah, see, this is where I think that a witch's cocktail is a bit more of a lucky dip, because there are good witches and bad witches, aren't there? And a bad witch is just going to poison you, and a good witch might give you something interesting. Or if they're just kind of bored, you might, wake up in 100 years, or you might turn into a frog.
I think the difference is, I don't think there's good witches and bad witches. I think there are just witches that you are on the good side of, or witches that you have wronged.
I also think accepting a cocktail from Dracula is very much like people corn feeding chickens. You feed them something to make the end products taste better. So by drinking blood, is that going to make you like blood when Dracula attacks you, like a double espresso rather than a single?
First of all, I'd like to correct you, and it's espresso. But please
Espresso.
Continue.
There's no X in it.
No.
Would that be decaffeinated?
Brother, can we have a rating out of 10, please?
3.
It sounded like he was going to say 6, and he didn't.
Oh.
Could do better.
Right, that's it. You've put me in a bad temper.
Oh.
Just right. Back to the question.
I can't deal with any more of these puns.
I know, it was ghastly.
I'm going to go with witches.
Why? Are you an idiot?
No. If you go out for drinks, you stick to the drink you like. Unless you fancy to spice it up and you go, I'm going to have a cocktail because I want something a bit different. Most people don't know what's in any of the cocktails. They look at the ingredients and they go, yeah, I kind of like those. I don't know if I like them if they all work together. Or they
go for it if it's got a good name.
Yeah. We've already established that the Dracula cocktail is pretty much going to be exactly the same thing. It's going to be blood or a derivative of a blood type cocktail. You're going to end up with the same thing pretty much. The witch cocktail could be absolutely anything. It could be great, it could be shit. Same with any other cocktail you get.
Might be more interesting than a plasma colada.
Hey!
Very nice. Very delicious. That's a solid 5, that. Well, I'll put it to you this way. It's like playing Russian roulette, except in a question mark box of the chambers is a bullet. In a question mark number of the chambers is nothing. And in a question mark number of the chambers is loads of money. Because the 3 outcomes are blood, which is just, I've drank some blood, very kind of in the middle and neutral. And then the other end of the spectrum is either something good or something bad. And it could be something extremely good or something extremely bad. It might just be a potion that turns your skin a slightly darker shade of flesh colour. Or slightly...
So a potion that's like self-tanning?
Yeah. Or...
You can market that and send it to Essex.
It literally could be anything. And I'm just not willing to risk it. Because quite frankly, I've probably pissed off a lot of witches.
I think if I was trapped in a room with Dracula, I'd know my goose is cooked. Because how often do you get invited to a vampire's house if you happen to be his food? You know, I think if you're trapped in a room with a spooky type person and they're offering to make you drink, your days are pretty numbered as it is. So you might as well go out on some crazy Russian roulette, or have you a white Russian roulette and take whatever drink they give you. And it'll be more interesting than a blood derivative, as we've said earlier.
But I think if you choose to have a drink from Dracula, you're a sucker anyway.
Oh.
But you can't. You're stating the fact that you either like to or you'd enjoy drinking blood. None of us, I hope, have sat and gone, yeah, drinking blood's not actually that bad.
I mean, I like black pudding. I like a rare steak.
Oh.
But it's not the same, though, is it?
It's not far off.
The red stuff in a steak isn't even blood.
No, I know it's not.
Squeeze it.
I'm fully aware of that. I'm just saying the choice that I've got is big question mark block that could be absolutely anything. The possibilities are endless. Or liquid black pudding.
But I don't think it wouldn't taste the same as black pudding, would it?
No.
And black pudding's such a disappointment.
Oh dear.
No one, if they don't know, they know what black pudding is. They expect it to be a nice greasy thing that merges into the rest of the English breakfast. It's really dry. Why is it so dry? If you're going to drink a cocktail,
someone's
it's really
cooked it
dry.
badly.
Yeah, because it's not been cooked correctly, brother.
Well, I demand Dracula to start cooking English breakfast instead of crappy cocktails.
He might be serving that with his cocktail. Somebody already said a Bloody Mary. Perfect time to have it.
Okay, I'm going to call it there. So, I like the idea of variety in a witch's cocktail, but isn't it just going, I don't mind if this is a date rape. I'm just going to drink it anyway. It's kind of the same thing. And yeah, I love black pudding and I love rare steak. So.
And neither of them taste like blood.
Dracula wins.
Yes.
Blood.
Yes.
Hey!
Thank you very much. Yeah, very nice. I still had so many more points to make, so I'd just like to thank all the people that have made this possible. But my brother for not having listened to the podcast well enough to know that if he insults anything to do with most foods, John will not take your side. Yeah. Like that was know your audience.
No.
It's the first part of marketing.
I don't see the correlation between black pudding and rare steak and a glass of blood. They're two separate.
They are, but this is how they pick their winners. If you feel cheated try doing it for 6 months.
I would like you to listen back to all the episodes that you've been in charge and see that you've done nothing fucking different. You hypocritical shits.
At least I referenced something in your argument, rather than making arguments up for myself.
Also, what's this all about my brother being on your side every time? What's happened?
Because you picked the wrong argument.
Oh, I didn't that time, did I?
Well, no. I think you did, but it's the fact that your brother mentioned that he doesn't like black pudding, so it wasn't what you picked.
John has made his decision. John has made his decision, and if you disagree with John, he won't be your friend anymore.
That black pudding argument, though, I think you would have lost. The variety is so much better than just drinking blood.
Yeah, I might die, or
get hepatitis, or
pretend you're a Maasai warrior.
Because you've said that Dracula's picking up on all the diseases. He's not drinking the cocktail. What the fuck does he care?
I mean, these are all valid arguments that should have been made 3 minutes ago. Anyway, do we want a nice end to the show, or do we want a violent end?
A violent end.
It's Halloween. It's got to be violent.
Okay.
Was that not the question?
Oh no, that was me helping. That was me deciding what to go with.
There you go, folks. You've got 4 hosts this week and 4 questions. Happy Halloween. We tricked you. And that therefore is your treat.
So, would you rather be killed by an axe murderer or a possessed doll?
Neither is preferable, really.
I mean, I have got my preference, but I have jumped in first. And I know that is kind of your calling card, John, when it's the two of you that you like to jump in first. But
that's if I know what I want, but I don't know what I want, so I'll go 3 for 3 and back seating this, and we'll see where we go.
Axe murderer.
For clarification, you're going to die either way, yeah?
Yeah.
Axe murderer then.
Yeah.
You don't want to be stuck at your funeral with everyone going, how did he die? He got chopped up by an axe murderer. Oh, that's a shit way to go. Or the alternative is, how did he die? Barbie got angsty.
Oh, see, in my head, it wasn't Barbie. It was like one of those sort of
Chucky.
Yeah,
it was a Care Bear.
some sort of China doll that looks a bit creepy.
Okay. And not like one of the animatronic dolls from Chuck E. Cheese.
I mean, it's John. You're the one who wants to be killed by a possessed doll. You tell us what sort of doll are you being murdered by?
Action Man.
The greatest
you know the
hero
one-
of them all.
You know the one with the little slidey thing on the back of his neck where his
With the
eyes
eyes,
move around the
God.
room? With the eyes!
I used to have that one.
I couldn't think of anything creepier than just at the end of the corridor, flickering light, an Action Man standing there, and his eyes go left and right really slowly. The light goes out, comes back on, and he's a few feet closer. Oh,
Exactly. There is no way of defending yourself against that, and I think it's an honourable way to go out. Because I'm a strapping lad. I know, Matt, you're not. So, Matt, you're a very strapping lad as well. If you die to an axe murderer, it just makes you an inferior human being. It makes you an inferior specimen. You couldn't defend yourself.
There is no possible way you are going to.
Doll is supernatural. You can't defend yourself at all. And then everyone will go, oh, fair enough. It's not the greatest way to go out, but I really respect him for, putting up a good fight. Whereas if you're, a teen that split off from the group, that's a rookie mistake. You're going to get killed every single time. You're going to be laid to waste. You're going to be mulched within the first 20 minutes.
I'm sorry, brother, I'm going to need to take this, because number one, your first flaw is you're saying that you think it is more manly to be killed by a child's toy than it is by a big man wearing a potato sack over his face wielding a giant axe.
But
Wrong.
don't forget, he has got eyes that move left to right.
And he is supernaturally possessed. He's got inhuman capabilities.
Number two.
Yeah, inhuman because he's made of plastic and he can only move at certain joints.
Exactly.
Okay, number two. If any one of us now came to you or phoned you in the middle of the night and said, John, I'm really scared. Why? Because I'm quite sure that my child's toy is possessed and is trying to kill me. You would be worried for our mental health. If I phoned you and said, John, I'm walking home from work and there is somebody following me with an axe and they're covered in blood, this is my location, you would phone
to punch him in the face.
You would phone
to
the
take
police.
the first strike, act like a man, and deal with it.
Okay, this is me you're speaking to. You just said
Oh,
that
no. Die with dignity. At least keep your legs closed.
don't want an axe wound in my axe wound. But no, there is no way that you can honestly think that. I mean, I'm going to stop talking because I don't think there's anything left to say. I think you need to defend your end now because I think your arguments are quite frankly laughable.
Okay, Angry Man is mortal. You've not defended yourself well enough to be not chopped up into pieces. Supernaturally possessed demon spirit inherited doll. That's a little bit of a different kettle of fish there, really, isn't it?
He's now in a shoebox and I've duct taped it shut. Done.
And then because he's a supernaturally possessed doll, you feel, this is cool. I finished burying him. I'm going to go to my bedroom, and he's waiting for you at the top of the stairs because he's a supernaturally possessed doll. It's what they do. There is no escaping them. Mike Myers never even jogged. He walked everywhere all the time. Mo Farah could be invincible in a horror film. Just keep jogging. 26 miles, he'll be all right.
But going back to the original question, so how does this doll kill you? Because that was the point. It's killing us either way. And I couldn't take the suspense of a slow axe murderer walking towards me. It gets to the point where I'd just be like, let's just get it over and done with. How is this doll killing you? Just a fright?
No, it's gonna have its own original and inventive way that'll be sudden and will leave the audience shocked and leave the people describing my body very perplexed and confused.
Is it going to stuff Lego down your throat? Are you going to die while propped up in a mangled corpse while having a tea party with other teddy bears?
Quite possibly. Action Man could make it look like whatever he wanted. He could make it look like an accident. He could make it look like an autoerotic asphyxiation accident. He could do whatever he wanted. He's a demon-possessed doll.
Could he shove an Etch-a-Sketch up your bum?
One, I doubt it would fit. And two, could you die from that or just
He is a supernatural possessed doll. He can do anything he wants. If he wants to put an Etch-a-Sketch up your bum, who are you to tell him he can't?
That is true. Not preferable.
Picture that.
Not preferable, but
please tweet.
But if Action Man says it's happening, it's happening.
Please tweet at John Would Rather with an H your fan art of that image that we've just given you. It's your episode. You've got to deal with the pictures, John. Sorry.
Send them via Ouija board. Remember. Right. So, this is a closer one than I thought. I've only heard positive things, to be honest. Now,
what, you mean our death?
You're all gonna die. It's just what way it is.
What would be your last words?
Can I ask you a question?
That works. John, putting you on the spot now. What are your last words to the doll?
G.I. Joe was better.
Very American.
Oh, well, that didn't make it easier. I don't really know. Can we hear more from the other Not John?
You can. I think it makes no sense for it to be anything other than an axe murderer. You can't. You've got normal fear of someone with an axe. You've got no fear of an action man. So even if it's going to kill you, I don't know. It'll just there's no pride in it, is there? You think about all the deaths of honour and everything else, and it'll be quicker if it's an axe murderer. There'll be no accidents.
Oh, very nice. It's the difference between being killed by the Mountain and Joffrey, really, isn't it?
Pretty much. No one wants to die a slow, painful, or embarrassing death.
We just confirmed that the Etch-a-Sketch up the anus was completely optional. It wasn't the actual confirmed method of the kill.
If it was optional, then why is that the way you want to go?
Right. I'll call it there then.
Wait. It would be amazing if, as it was going in, the possessed things did the dials, and the last thing that anybody saw was it just writing out exit only.
This is turning into a Snakes on the Plane version of a horror story. Oh yeah, and this should happen. Oh yeah, and this should happen. Oh yeah, and this guy will definitely be there.
Can this be our like spoof comedy after we've done Ninjas in Paris? When we've made all of our money from our actually good and poetic and blockbuster film, and then we go the same way that all the Seth Rogans and the Adam Sandlers of the world, we go, oh no, we've used up all our good ideas. Let's just do that and just go for cheap laughs.
So you say our film should be about Action Man killing John
by shoving Etch-a-Sketches, or I'm not opposed to spirographs where they shouldn't go.
See, wow. I should win this episode because you both agreed it's a very good idea for a film.
Well, that's where I was about to call it the other way, but
no,
because film idea.
Because it's more
just had another film come out this year. Because it's been done.
But because it's more interesting, surely that means it's more horrific. So surely you wouldn't want that to be the way that you go.
I want people to talk about my death.
So you think being chopped up by an axe murderer isn't the way it's going to do? When I moved to Huddersfield,
Hollywood's been there, done that. It's old news, mate.
My first week in Huddersfield, I was walking past and I saw the local paper, and the headline was "Prostitute found chopped up in bin." And there was a prostitute found chopped up in a bin outside Tesco's.
That sounds degrading.
Do you really think they're going to put it on the front page of any real newspaper if you've been killed by a possessed doll? Because no one's going to believe it. That's going to be on the front cover of some weird, like, Psychics Weekly that no one's going to read. No one will believe it. It'll be a myth.
Which is why it'll become an urban legend, and it'll be a mystery toy box murder. It will have its own cool name, like the like the Black Dahlia murder.
John's point was he wants people to talk about his death, but that's all they'll talk about. The death, not him. He'll be irrelevant to the story.
That doesn't matter.
But you're not going to be remembered then, are you? You just... No one remembers the victim.
It was like...
the weird, satanic...
I think
boy.
it's
beady-eyed action man.
It's a bit like when I was going whale watching in a kayak, and people said, "Oh, make sure you don't get eaten by the killer whales." And I said, "Yeah, but everyone will remember me if I get eaten by a killer whale." Okay, remember that guy? Loved him. Got eaten by a killer whale. I think the same logic goes. If you get killed by a possessed doll, I think people will remember that.
People would still remember the guy that got killed by an axe-wielding murderer. It's not every day that actually happens. Other than
I don't know.
What was the lady's name? The one in the bin. What was that poor deceased person called?
I don't think that doesn't even matter. The point I'm gonna make is that he's an axe murderer, which means he's already murdered people, which means you're just one of many. You're not special.
And you think that this doll
he can only be called...
him?
He's an axe murderer because he's killed you with an axe. Doesn't mean he's done it before.
Well,
he only gets that title after he's done the deed.
But if he's done the deed before, he has the title, and he's going to go and do it again.
Yeah, no.
Then you're foolish.
To be fair, the question was, and I have to possibly shoot myself in the foot, but is would you rather be killed by an axe murderer? And he wouldn't have been an axe murderer if he hadn't already killed someone with an axe. Otherwise, it would have been, would you rather be killed by someone with an axe?
Yeah, that was the question.
However, but you did also say doll, not action figure, so it can't be an action man.
Well,
which doll? Is it Baby Wee Wee?
My baby all gone. She makes the edge of sketch all gone.
It's a ceramic doll.
Ceramic doll.
Yeah.
See, but that means you're getting killed by something that you could just drop on the floor and no longer exist.
But it's possessed. It is going to come back reformed with loads of cracks in it, looking even scarier and even more angry.
No, all that I'm getting here is because you're saying it's a possessed doll, so it's not got superpowers. It's just like a bit creepy, is all I'm hearing. So you've seen it, you've picked it up and gone, that's creepy, and you've dropped it. It's made of ceramic. You've then cut yourself and got an infection, which has then killed you. You've not died because it's superhuman and done anything. You've died an awful death. No one's going to remember the guy that got an infection from an old doll and then died.
How did he die? Sepsis.
I've got an infection, so therefore I'd be taken to the hospital. Hospital can't clear it up. My lovely wife sues the NHS and pays the house off. So even in death, I'm still useful. Whereas if I'm shark bait in a chum bucket, but what good am I to anyone? They think I've just sloped off and disappeared.
Which is absolutely fine, and that is commendable. But John did say he was looking for a memorable death, and he likes the gory way that you were originally, and the fantastical way that you would be turned into a myth and a legend, as per your argument previously. And I don't think yours quite cuts it anymore, unlike the broken ceramic doll.
I was giving you another option. Because your brother has decided the doll doesn't actually have any spiritual powers and can't hurl itself through the air to strangle me.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense that a ceramic doll is going to do any damage other than it being broken and then cutting you.
It does make no sense, but I don't get a choice in the matter. So this is the hand I'm dealt, and I'm playing it.
Even better, John's absolutely oblivious to the fact that it's a possessed doll, isn't paying attention and just trips over it and falls down the stairs. And lands on an Etch-a-Sketch.
Maybe that's why it's possessed. It just flails one of its limbs out to trip him up.
This isn't working well for the script of the film. I think we'll have to revisit this really underwhelming.
Right.
So, John, I think the answer is: do you want to be emasculated, or do you want to die as a urban legend?
Is it?
I can't keep changing my mind because I just sound like I'm flip-flopping. Ceramic doll wins. Ceramic doll wins.
What?
Sorry, guys.
Are you kidding me?
What's the reason for ceramic doll winning?
Because
other than you based all of your experience and knowledge on it being Action Man to begin with.
No, I
didn't hear any plus side for an axe murderer. I heard no benefit to it.
It comes with the same infamy as being killed by a possessed Action Man, but
I think
quicker.
that was my reason is that you're just going to be one of many, whereas I think being killed by a doll it's a more exclusive club.
But once again, as with the previous question, it's a bit of a dice roll whether anyone actually believes it. Because I tell you the kind of person that wouldn't believe it, and that's all four of us.
Well, I had to pick one, and neither of them are particularly good, are they? So John wins.
Boom.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, was it spooky?
It was.
Any closing notes? Have you enjoyed yourself this week?
Me?
I probably should have phrased it better. Our guest, have you enjoyed it this week, being on the other side of the mirror?
It has been enjoyable. A bit spooky.
Are you going to be tormented for the coming nights, the fact that you lost?
Did I lose?
Do you consider me to be a pain in the neck?
That was a very stretched Frankenstein joke, or a very stretched Dracula joke.
Yeah, it was a Dracula joke.
I've got a question for you, John. All of the Halloween questions, but where were the wolves?
Don't like wolves.
Oh, okay.
Too much like dogs.
Is that why you didn't like my dog?
Are you not liking the wolves?
Nice. Took me a second there. I don't think the other two got it, brother.
No, I don't think they did either.
Well, that's all we've got time for, folks. We need to get away to go and run a bath. This has been with John Rather, with a guest for the first time. And we'll see you all next week. Boom.
I've been John. I'm going to cut up a pumpkin.
And I've been John, and I've been necessity to this program.
Do you want to try a different one?
No.
See you next week, folks.
You can have 100% of the earnings, my earnings from this episode.
Awesome. What cut of Etch-a-Sketch sales do I now receive?
Oh, imagine if we got sponsored by Etch-a-Sketch. and we had to record a video because it was like down with the kids and we were all in with the memes of John falling down the stairs and landing on an Etch-a-Sketch.
Somebody write to them with the idea and see whether they're interested. Actually, tweet it.
John doesn't eat something.